Welcome everybody to another episode of What's Working in E-Commerce. I'm your host, Egan Heath from Caravan Digital. We're a digital marketing agency for direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands. I have a very interesting guest today. His name is Vlad from Enopoly, and he creates digital real estate for e-commerce. No, how do I say it, Vlad?
You got it, man. That's it. Digital real estate. That's what I'm branding right now.
All right. What is digital real estate and how do you think about e-commerce and what you do?
Yeah, so I look at real estate because I've always wanted to get into real estate. It was my number one thing until I got into it and it kind of sucked. It's not as fast as everyone says it is online. But what allowed me to get into real estate and all the different ventures is building digital stores, Amazon stores, Walmart stores, eBay stores, Facebook stores. And that's really, when you own a store on one of those platforms, you own a percentage of that real estate that platform carries. And they carry a lot of traffic, right? Millions and millions of people on a daily basis.
Give us a sense of who's coming to you and kind of what situation are they in?
Yeah, so the people that, our clients, the people that we like to work with, typically are professionals in their industry or they're entrepreneurs. They don't have a lot of time. Well, they have more money than they do time. And people, instead of getting into a real estate, so for instance, let's say you have 200 grand and you want to buy a real estate property. Well, what's the best you're going to do with that? Maybe 2K, 3K a month. If you turn it into Airbnb and spend more time on it, maybe 5, 6K a month. Or you take that same 200K and put it into e-commerce. You're on a bad month, you're doing 7% cash on cash, which is insane on a monthly basis. So it's the same thing as real estate, except it's digital. And what we do is we automate that whole entire process. So once a client says, okay, well, I have X amount of funds and I want an e-commerce store and I want passive income, we go in, we set up a store, typically on Amazon, or really just depends what platform you're trying to build on. And then we go ahead, we once you complete the onboarding, we go ahead and configure your store, figure out, what would work best for your store, and then we just buy inventory for your store. Companies like Amazon, they'll actually store the inventory for our clients, and we just get the hottest selling products in the store. The store starts producing sales, and then we just do a profit split at the end of the month. So if you make, depending on the contract you select to work with us with, if you make 5K, you'll give us half, or you'll give us 30%, whatever the contract you select and dictates.
Got it. So people are coming to you with a large pool of capital. They don't even necessarily have products or a brand at that point. Is that right?
Now, we actually don't like to work with specific like products and brands because it's really like a guessing game. We don't like to play guessing games. We like to do what actually works right now. So we do wholesale. Majority of our time is focused on wholesale. So we will go into big US suppliers. And because of how many clients we have, how much working capital our clients have, we can get exclusive deals from wholesalers and some brands as well to be able to buy in large volumes and get the cheapest price possible to be able to resell them on platforms like Amazon, Walmart, or whichever one pops up on top of that.
Gotcha. Tell us a bit about these wholesalers and these products. What kind of products are they? And, how do you find those relationships?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways to find relationships when it comes to wholesalers. The most common way is simple Google search. Let's say like you're trying to find a wholesaler for, I don't know, baby products. All right, you're just gonna you can do a simple search, and you could do a broad search, or you could do a very simple. I always start off at the simpler you do it, the better it is. So let's say you live in Seattle, right? So you do a baby wholesaler, baby product wholesaler in Seattle. And then you just expand to the state, then to the East Coast, West Coast, and then you expand to the nation. And that's how. And the most important tip I can give you, if you're actually looking for wholesalers and suppliers, never look at the first page of Google. Never look at that. Always look at the second page and therefore after, because the first page is always just ads, and I typically don't like to work with those. And if you do some research, you'll understand why.
Gotcha. So these wholesalers, are their products already on Amazon, Walmart, and Facebook or not yet?
Yeah, so we only sell products that are obviously already selling. So when you go on Amazon and you're looking at products, so that's how we do our product research. That's how we find out what's selling. The beauty about these massive platforms like Amazon and Walmart is they have what's called a buy box, and that buy box is constantly switched. Sometimes every second, every hour, every day, it's constantly giving other sellers a turn. So that's why, like for instance, me and you even can be selling the same exact product. Let's say this wallet, right? You can be selling it for $2 more than I am, but both of us will make sales that day because there's so much traffic on Amazon and Walmart that everybody gets a turn. And the better your seller rating is, if more people, especially let's say, leave more positive reviews on your store again, even though yours is more expensive, yours will actually get more of a chance to be sold more times that day than, for instance, me, even if I have a cheaper price. So there's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, so we only sell trusted brands people already like and trust and buy every day. That's what we focus on. Unless Amazon's selling them themselves, then we just stay away from that.
Pretty interesting. And then this store you're setting up, you're saying when a client works with you, you're setting them up a new Amazon store. It's not like you're using an existing one that already has relationships and ratings, or are you?
It really depends. If the client has an existing store and it has good ratings, I would love to use that one because it does have the ratings. But if they don't, they typically will just build a new one. And most clients come in, we always just build a new one because our type of client, they don't know anything about e-commerce. They just want a passive stream of income that's reliable and that does better than 10% a year, which is what typically real estate does.
Pretty fascinating. I guess I'm curious, like, it sounds like the hard part is not the traffic or the demand or even necessarily the wholesale relationship. The hard part that you're solving is just, hey, we need somebody with capital. We're going to invest this capital and just find an opportunity to deploy it.
I mean, it really just depends what time of the year it is, right? Like last year, we had so many more clients that we know what to do with. This year, look at the economy, right? With gas prices, food prices, and everything, everybody's more towards a reserve. So yeah, at this point, it's kind of like we have to focus more on the front end rather than the back end. Whereas last year, we're all about the back end. Um, we were focused on just growing the back end and keep up with the clients coming in. So it really just depends the time of the year and the state of the market. But yeah, right now we really solidified the back end. We got so much more support, so many more relationships with suppliers, and just like the amount of deals we're able to come up with it's insane. Because a lot of people, when everyone gets worried and stressed, it's the best time to go harder, right? Because that's when everyone presses the brake, you press the gas, and you're always gonna be on top. Right? That's the way I look at it right now too.
Pretty curious. It almost sounds too good to be true, so I just want to make sure I understand, Vlad. So, what's the competitive advantage? It sounds like these products are already selling on Amazon and Walmart and sites like that. You're kind of stepping in, and if I'm understanding right, you sort of become another retailer to that wholesaler. And is it just you've got the volume and you're able to get the buy box enough to make it work? Like, I'm trying to understand the opportunity.
Well, yeah. So the toughest part is the product research, right? We got to figure out again. Let's for instance, obviously we're never going to sell this type of wallet, but let's just use this as an example. Let's say there's 10 sellers on Amazon that are already offering this wallet. And based on the data, Amazon says we sell, I don't know, 10,000 units of this wallet every single month. Okay, well, we look at the 10 sellers. Okay, one seller has 1,000 of them. One seller has 5,000 of them. The other sellers only have, 50 to 100. So now we know, okay, well, Amazon's selling 10,000 of them. The market currently only holds 5,000 or 6,000, 7,000, whatever. So we know we can supply a demand of 3,000 wallets. So then we go ahead and if one of our suppliers has it, we go ahead and make that purchase and we supply that to the marketplace. And then if we could get an even better price than everybody else, then we can actually start dominating because one, we have a cheaper price, and two, the way we build relationships with suppliers, they want to keep selling to us. Just because we always come in with so much working capital, so much capital to buy the products, they want to push, because the supplier's main concern is they just want to rotate the products. The more they rotate the products, the more they're going to make, the more money they're going to make. So it's easier for them to do it with us versus just one random Amazon seller or two or three. That's the advantage of like working with someone like us, because one, we have the advantage when it comes to capital. And I actually made a video about this, Egan, yesterday. Kind of think about it like this, right? For people that are getting into real estate, and I like talking about real estate because that was like my first love, but people that get into real estate, it's so hard for the newest person to buy a house. They're the first time home buyers, right? And the reason is because they're competing against their own money. And what I mean by that is if they have a 401k or a pension fund or a IRA, these massive giants, what are they doing? They're going out there taking your money that they're managing and outbidding you on the properties that you're trying to buy. That's why it's so hard. That's why the real estate market's still going up. Now, I can't say if it's going to keep going up or down. Nobody knows that, but that's what's been happening. And if it does go down, it's going to get even harder to buy because these guys are super liquid with your money. That's kind of like what we're doing. We're not a fund, but because of our purchasing power with our clients, we get to have the best relationships and get the first movers advantage when it comes to products that are available to the marketplace.
That piece about what kind of sales each product is doing on Amazon. Forgive my ignorance. We're kind of from the our clients are on Shopify and things like that, so I don't really know the Amazon world. So when you're getting that data, is that from Amazon directly? Is that from a SaaS tool? Like, how do you find that piece out to see what's selling how many units?
So that is from softwares like Keepa, Helium 10. We use about 3 or 4 softwares at this point. And we just look at all the data at once and just make the best decision at that point with what's available. And with that data, we know if Amazon's selling it, and if it is selling it, what time of the year does Amazon typically sell it? Because Amazon sometimes jumps on a product for 2 months and then just stops selling it. And sometimes Amazon will sell that product, but they'll sell it for way more expensive than anybody else, so it doesn't even matter if they're selling it. And then we can see with all the software, we can see how many sellers are selling it, and how sometimes you can see how much inventory they even have, right? So that's the data that we rely on before we make that product purchase for a client.
Pretty interesting. And so part of the advantage is just you're coming in, you're going to have, you're buying from the wholesaler as a retailer, then you and your client, you have more supply. And so you're able to capture more of that market. You're able to get the buy box more often. Is that about right?
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any of these tools you can show us and give us a little demo on how you think through opportunities like this?
That right there, I would not share because that is kind of our secret sauce to how we find it. But there's a lot of there's a you know a lot of it really comes down to there's so many different Amazon courses, right? If this is something they're really truly passionate about, I can guarantee you could find it for free. Like just look up different gurus if they show their product research, and then you just pick what's best for you. That's how I went about it in the beginning. And then obviously the way I started everything is I always just buy everyone's course. If someone has a course about something I like, I'm gonna invest in it and buy it. It may be complete BS, right? It could be. But as long as I learn one little thing of why it's BS and why I shouldn't do that, that's worth it to me.
That's great. I like that. I've really benefited from info products myself as well, so I'm a huge advocate of that. And it's kind of amazing what's out there. And
Yeah.
even if you're paying hundreds or thousands of dollars, sometimes like you can make that money back, and it really is an investment kind of in your tuition of learning this stuff. So I'm glad you talked about that.
And it's a tax write-off, right? Anything you spend on education is a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, also like real quick for those people that are looking to like actually get into these, if you're trying to buy a course and it's too expensive, there's so many 0% business cards you guys can have, right? If you open up Chase bank account, Chase is really good with this. I use Chase a lot and I recommend it for our clients, but you can get 0% credit cards that are 12 to 16 months. And literally you buy a course, for 3,000, 5,000, you're not paying any interest on that. It's literally you paying 1%. It's like free money. And by the time you finish the course, you'll probably already make that money back. And you got free money to do so. So that's a great tool and great advantage if you're looking to get into courses and don't have a lot of money to spend up front.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that tip. I'm curious, when you are working with a client then and you're setting up these listings, are you then doing, the equivalent of, I don't know, Amazon and Walmart SEO? Are you doing SEO or pay-per-click ads or anything like that inside these bigger platforms?
Yeah, so it really comes down to the description and the product, the title, how pretty the description is, right? Are you using emojis? And that's really all we use. We don't have to go into like PPC campaigns or anything like that. We'll play around with it just to play around with it, but we really don't have to because we're focusing on products that are moving. Part of the product research is figuring out, okay, what's the sales ranking for this product, right? Because every single different category is different sales ranks, and if some product could be in the 30,000 sales rank, but it sells 200 units a month. Well, now we know, okay, we can buy 400 units for a client, and then we'll have consistent sales for the next 2 months of this one product without having to boost any advertising or anything else like that. And we know how much inventory the other sellers have as well. And we know it's in demand because of Amazon. All these softwares tell us it's in demand and people are buying.
So you're really in an up market or some product that's highly in demand. You're really getting into that demand capture and you're able to do it organically within the platform, it sounds like.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like drop shipping.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So even if this is a new seller account, so on and so forth, the demand is just so high that you're kind of coming in and filling it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Vlad, what advice do you have for people who are interested in, learning how to do this or learning how to get into this?
Well, I'm nothing special. I'm a very slow learner when it comes to this kind of stuff too. So, what I believe and what I dedicate my success to is I'm very good at hiring people. As soon as I learn just enough about a subject, I automatically teach it to the next person and have them finish the course. Like I learn what I need to, and then I delegate as soon as possible. That's how I'm able to get a bunch of courses. I'll watch a few of them or a few hours of them, and then from there I know if it's good enough or not, and I just kind of delegate it to a specific person on my team. So that's kind of like how I go about it. If you're really trying to learn this yourself, like look at Elon Musk. I'm willing to bet he doesn't know how a Tesla is built. He has an idea, but his engineers are the ones that know how it's built. And do what Elon does, right? Do what Jeff Bezos does. I guarantee you, Bezos does not know how Amazon functions at this point. He only owns like 14% of it. Delegate it, right? Get as many courses as you can, dive into it, learn what you want to learn from it, test it out, but then from there, delegate it to a team member. There's plenty of virtual assistants you guys could get through Philippines, Colombia, or in Pakistan. There's so many different countries out there. They're very cheap for labor. And you can utilize them. You can actually teach them yourself. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you can find people that already have some experience in that as well. And delegate it as fast as you can. That's how you're really going to get that consistent growth. Because one team member will know how to do Amazon wholesale. One team member can know how to find the products, the wholesalers. And one team member is going to do the purchasing for you. One team member is going to strictly do product research. And if you have 4 or 5 people, right, learn a different part of the course all at once, you're cutting that time down so much. That's kind of like how I like to do it. It's kind of more riskier, I guess you could say, because you can never trust everybody you hire. But that's the fastest way from what I found out, instead of learning everything myself, because I'm kind of slow at that.
Let me make sure I have this because this seems like a really important part of your company is you'll hire multiple, let's say, virtual assistants from around the world, have them take the course, have them implement, and you're kind of seeing what's the performance like across different ones and seeing who can cut it and who can deliver, and then kind of winnowing down from there. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's how I kind of continuously hire. So like whenever a new client comes in, I'll hire about, well, it depends how much working capital they have, anywhere from 2 to 10 people, and then from there I'll see how they go, see how they perform. Now obviously they don't have to learn anything new. I already have trainers, but see how they perform, and then from there, like if I hire 10 people for one client, but by the end of the month or 2 months, it'll only be like four. Or sometimes even three, because those are the ones that proven their work and can follow instructions and do all the tedious work that like no one really likes to do, like product research. And that's kind of like that's literally how I build all my businesses at this point.
I see. So each of them can kind of replicate, do the same research, and then you see the final product. Who brought me the best research? It's not like they're all inside working in an account at the same time.
No, yeah, exactly, and that's kind of like. Yeah, I like to delegate. That's my number one thing because I don't want to work all day. That's miserable.
Vlad, you're one of the most interesting people I've ever interviewed. Tell us a bit about your boxing career and also what you learned from that and kind of what you bring from that world into this world.
Oh man. Boxing is what set me straight. I'm actually I was born in Russia. I grew up in Ukraine. So if you're a guy and you were born in Russia or Ukraine or somewhere in Eastern Europe, you automatically are fighting throughout kindergarten, elementary school. It's normal to get into fights in class. The teacher will kick you out for a few minutes, go finish your fight, get back in, do your work, right? So I've always fought my whole entire life, and once I graduated high school, I really was like, I don't want to do anything. My mom was pushing me to become a doctor, and I hated every option. The one thing I liked is fighting. I'm like, all right, let me do that. Like if I'm gonna live a full life or enjoy any part of my life, I want to at least do what I love, and I love to fight. So got into fighting. Competed for a good like really competed for a good 3.5 years. Got to fight all over Florida, a few fights in Georgia, had a few fights in Netherlands, Amsterdam, and got to get a lot of pros ready for fights. I never turned pro myself because I had a heart condition that came out during Golden Gloves in Florida here, and actually I think it was West Palm or Fort Lauderdale. But fighting is really what got my head together and taught me how to focus. That's how I learned discipline. I would wake up at 4 a.m. I'd run 5 miles. I'd go to my morning job. I'd work 4 or 5 hours. I was a cupcake baker. And then I would go back to the track. I would do some sprints, go to my day job as a server, get off of that, and go straight to training. And because of that schedule, I was able to really prioritize my time and learn how to do inefficient tasks that are not most beneficial. Learn how to do them on autopilot. I learned how to do the most important tasks and how to save my brain power for those most important tasks. I think that's what really boxing did for me and gave me the will to keep going. Right? Because when you're in a ring, you get hit in the face really hard. You can't just be like, "Ah, man, I'm done. I need a timeout." You gotta brush it off, and you just gotta keep going, no matter how you feel, because nobody cares how you feel when you're in the ring. Everyone cares, are you going down or is the opponent going down?
What a story. No one has ever told a story like that on here. So thank you so much for sharing that background. Vlad, this is just fascinating. I hope we can keep in touch. I hope I can follow your career here and just continue to see your success. You know, for anyone watching this or listening to this, who's a good fit to reach out to you and what's a good way for them to find you?
Yeah, the easiest way to find us is enopolyautomation.com. Enopoly like monopoly, just an internet monopoly. Enopolyautomation.com. That's the easiest way to reach out to us. We've got a lot of content on there. It's application, and we'll be able to get in touch. The type of clientele we look for is basically busy professionals, or people that are crushing it in their business and just know they need to diversify, and they're looking for something other than Bitcoin or real estate. Those are the clientele we love working with. Obviously, if you don't meet that specifically, it's okay. We have different clients from different backgrounds from all over. As long as you understand, this is not you brought a good point. This kind of sounds too good to be true. Well, not everyone has the same exact results. Not everyone has the same amount of capital. Some stores take longer to scale than others. Some person can come in and start seeing results within the first 60 days. Some people take 6 months to see results, and it's okay. Whether it takes a year to see results or 1 month or 5 years, we're never gonna stop. We're gonna keep going. Like once you buy our service, we want to keep you there forever as long as people are shopping online. That's the thing. We never give up on our clients.
Love it. Love it. Well, spoken from a boxer, I think we can trust you. So thank you so much, Vlad. It's a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, yeah.
Ian, thank you so much for having me on. It's definitely been a pleasure. Definitely a pleasure to connect with you. Let's definitely stay in touch, Ian.
All right. Thank you for sharing what's working in e-commerce.